2026 provides an opportunity to deliver even more progressive wins this November. Join us this summer ahead of the midterms by investing in the Progress Texas Summer Sustaining Donor Drive, funding pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive messaging made by Texans for Texans. At Progress Texas, we're asking our supporters to become monthly donors, and for those already on the team, to increase their monthly support. Because with your partnership, we can get the message out across Texas in this critical year. We'll thank you with perks for progress. Choose from our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a Progress Texas summer koozie, or a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the Daily Dispatch. Thanks in advance for doing your part to build the progressive Texas we all want to live in today.
Hey guys, it's Councilmember Junior Izanu as well as the Mayor Pro Tem for the great city of Grand Prairie, Texas here with Progress Texas. I want to encourage you all to join the progressive movement. Guys, progressives are the ones that have transformed this country for the last 200, 300, 400 years and can help move us into the future, allow us to have voting rights, increase the minimum wage, provide us with universal health care. If these issues matter to you, what about rent? Making rent more affordable, housing more affordable. If these issues matter to you, join Progress Texas. It's the way forward. It's the progressive way forward. Thank you.
It's Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Progress Texas amplifies progressive values, leaders, and actions through our no paywall podcasts and digital media. We make Texas politics easy to understand and to participate in, and your support for fact-based independent media hands the mic to millions of Texans. Huge thanks to Richard Rodine, Laura Gore, and Lanny Potachik for their ongoing sustaining support. We appreciate it. Much ado in mainstream media about a supposedly confrontational tone at a Sunday event in Houston designed specifically as an outreach and forum for Houston's black voters, during which Kayla Guo at the Texas Tribune says Democratic Senate nominee James Talarico fielded questions for over an hour from dozens of black community members on why their community should back his campaign. Those questions ranged from his policy positions on voting rights, how he would support black rural farmers, his views on immigration enforcement and the Republican war on diversity, equity, and inclusion, the black representation on his own campaign staff, and how he planned to back down-ballot black Democratic candidates. In response, Talarico talked about his recent appearances on black media outlets, invitations to appear that he's accepted from black churches and historically black universities, his policy positions to address the cost of living, healthcare access, early childhood education, voting rights, and Texas's dismal statistics on maternal mortality, which, as we know, quite disproportionately affects black women. And importantly, James Talarico talked about the endorsements he's picked up from a broad range of black Texas political leaders, first and foremost his primary opponent, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, groups like the Texas Organizing Project, which works to mobilize black and Latino voters, and several black lawmakers who flanked Talarico at this same event in Houston, including Progress Texas endorsees Congressman Christian Menifee and State Rep Lauren Ashley Simmons, Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis, State Reps Dr. Alma Allen, Christian Manuel, and Ron Reynolds, and Houston Mayor Pro Tem Martha Castex Tatum were all there in support as well. To cap off, Rep Talarico's message to the black community of Houston was his announcement that he plans to dedicate $25 million specifically to black outreach across Texas for the rest of his Senate run, which he said was the largest such investment in modern Texas history. So, let's be clear, there was a lot of outreach and agreement and conversation and exchange, and where it was needed, we believe a lot of healing at this event, and we're glad to see it. But there were also tense moments, including one in particular from Candace Weber, a Houston nurse who the Texas Tribune also describes as a political content creator, which is more or less the same as a political influencer, who drew what the Trib calls, quote, a mix of scattered applause and disapproving murmurs from the audience, unquote, when she attempted to shout James Talarico down, accusing him of cutting the conversations short. Again, he fielded questions for over an hour, and also leveled charges that Talarico is secretly an advocate for charter schools, which anyone who knows anything about James Talarico's track record as a lawmaker knows is a stretch. The accusation stems from the 2 years that Talarico spent teaching middle school through Teach for America, which is a national education nonprofit that recruits and trains people who commit to teaching for at least 2 years in high-need schools around the country. That organization does have historic ties to charter schools. James Talarico has famously, though, been a leading advocate for public education and a staunch opponent of Governor Greg Abbott's private school voucher scam. So Candace Weber, co-chair of Houston Rising, the grassroots organization that produces Houston's March for Black Women, and a lead organizer for Black Lives Matter Houston, got her point across, most definitely accomplished the goals that all political content creators and influencers are pursuing, and made it very clear in her comments that she personally opposes James Talarico's candidacy, which is her right as a voter. Meanwhile, right-wing media has had a field day with the situation since last weekend, celebrating an awkward moment for the Democratic nominee. But was Weber correct in saying to James Talarico in front of a large crowd of black Texans that, quote, black people don't trust you, unquote? Recent polling doesn't support that notion and, in fact, shows that James Talarico is outperforming both prior Democratic Senate candidates Beto O'Rourke and Colin Allred among Texas black voters at this stage in the campaign, with 67% of black voters in Texas in June pledging to vote for Talarico. That number in June of 2024 for Colin Allred was 47%, and for Beto in June of 2018, 49%. According to the Texas Politics Project, Phil Prazen at NBC DFW in Dallas notes two things. First, that James Talarico is outperforming both Beto O'Rourke, who was a genuine emerging political rock star at the time, and Colin Allred, who was a U.S. congressman otherwise known for his career in the NFL, in name recognition among black voters in Texas. O'Rourke and Allred would go on to secure about 90% of the black vote in their respective elections. And second, that if James Talarico has an issue with the black electorate in Texas, it's much more concentrated among black political leaders than it is among black voters. James Talarico's supposed issues with the black community of Texas have become a political flashpoint. And as we know, in today's social media-driven information environment centered around the attention economy and algorithms that reward outrage far more than reconciliation, political flashpoints are a very strong temptation for exploitation. There are perfectly good reasons to view the information and stances coming from individual influencers, even those with whom you normally agree, with a measure of caution. Those content creators know very well that riling you up is the best way to grow their audiences and thus their influence, and that's ultimately their primary goal. Healing, understanding, bridge building, and consensus just don't get the job done for some political influencers and content creators. Welcome to the new normal. Let's get one in for Ken Paxton before we wrap up here. He's apparently having trouble getting much of anybody to pay attention to his campaign at all, to the point where he's telling tall tales about his live event attendance. Michael Carlos of the San Antonio Current, whom we enjoyed having on In Progress with us last week, says Paxton's latest unforced error comes with a wildly exaggerated attendance figure for a rally his campaign threw in McAllen, claiming that 763 attendees showed up at University Draft House, which is a smallish venue with an official capacity of 414. Pictures on Twitter along with these wild claims seem to show right about 100 attendees with lots of room to maneuver. For Ken Paxton, life in general appears to be an exercise in bending the truth, knowing that his voters aren't paying very close attention anyway. And if they are, they've long accepted his general lack of scruples. This election year, you can support the real free press by investing in pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive storytelling delivered by Texans for Texans. Join Progress Texas this summer ahead of the midterms and become a monthly donor today, or increase your giving during our summer-sustaining donor drive. With your partnership, we can reach more independents, progressives, and young voters who must be mobilized to win elections. We invite you to sign up or increase your support during our summer drive, and we'll thank you with Perks for Progress, union-made merch to match your values. Choose from our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a sweet Progress Texas summer koozie, and a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout-out on the Daily Dispatch like this one for our friend Darby Lockridge, who's been a member of the Progress Texas family for several years now, but she's answered the call and upped her monthly contribution with the summer drive. Darby, we're not sure how you got so cool, but we're glad you did. Thank you so very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Find Progress Texas on all major social media platforms and learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll catch you again here tomorrow.